So in our last step, if you remember, we added the front body post clip, added these two pieces for the shock tower, the rear body post clips, and the battery cover clips, okay? In step 5, we are going to attach the electronics. So to do that, we need 4 BA3s, 2 BA2s, 2 BA5s, 2 BA11, and 2 BA12, plus all of your electronics, okay? So servo, I like to start that first because that is when you're screwing in. You can see the big opening in the front, that's where your servo goes, and you have to screw it in from underneath, so a little tricky. Let's get those screws. So like I said, for the screwing in the servo, you need your 2 BA12 washers plus 2 of the BA4s. Yeah, so these bigger ones are your BA12 washers. You need 2 of those. And then you also need 2 of your BA11s, which are the smaller washers. So there's that. So now that I got all the pieces out, you'll see for the servo is the BA12, which, oops, sorry. I need the BA4, which is the longer of the screws, and the BA12 millimeter washer. What you need to do is line up the holes underneath. You could kind of see it. I go with this side, the far side first, where your servo wiring is, because it has a smaller hole, where there's more of a slot on the other side, so you have more room to work with. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like that's what makes the most sense. So this is one of those steps that it's not really hard, right? But it's tricky because you have to make sure everything is lined up correctly. Otherwise, you're gonna have some big issues when you're out there turning and whatnot. So there's my servo installed. Once we do that, you can see your wiring for the battery goes down through. It kind of shows your ESC going right in there. I feel like because of the wiring, like if you're just going with this Tamiya wiring, it could be tricky, but you could definitely make it work. I would say make sure that your battery is going to connect, right? And then you could go ahead and attach your ESC. I only have these connectors, so I have this like extra 2-inch length, so I'm not worried about the length of the cord being an issue. So I'm going to use that double-sided tape. And again, placement is showing the ESC basically right here. Which makes sense because to have your power switch reach, you can't go very far, right? Now, with the Hobby Wing, it is not cut out perfectly how it was designed. So you have to kind of play around with that a little bit. because the screws would have it facing up. I like to do double-sided tape and put it through so you can still use it that way, like it's intended. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this. It is not perfect, but it will do the job. Here we go. Make sure you line it up. I guess so the off and on is facing the correct way for you. So I like off on the left, on the right. Push that on good. Push this on good. So that takes care of that. Now, they don't give you enough tape to technically use that. It's probably really for your receiver. But I bought this roll of double-sided tape a while back. So I could just go ahead, cut a piece of this, stick it on my Dumbo RC receiver, peel this tape off, and this, if you look, I'm going to put just in front of my ESC. That way, helps with cable management. This is gonna go through your shock tower or past the antenna, which, where is this part? D3. Here's bag D. It's this big hunk of this big old piece. I don't know what to call it. So you could see where the antenna hole is, and there are screws that, once you line it up, I guess go from right there in the top. These are your BA3s, at least 2 of them, and then 2 of them go underneath. What is strange to me is I feel like these are the body post mounts. But, you know, I don't fully remember. So it looks like you're covering the body post mounts, but I don't think you actually use them for the Rising Fighter. You're going to attach the wing here, and it looks like the body comes up to about there. So you could go ahead and screw those on. I know I said I like to, you know, rotate where I'm tightening, but I'm not going to flip it over and then back over. Like, I'm going to do the tops, get that taken care of. I'm going to flip this over, and you can see the screws underneath go right up here. So we have the we have the wing mount attached. I have the electronics all attached, including the servo. And you might be wondering about these last couple screws. They are for your on-off. I use double-sided tape because of how this kit is set up, so I don't need those. In the next step, we're going to look at building the front arms and attaching them to the chassis.